Hi guys and welcome back to Tommy's Starcraft. This is your host Tommy with another Starcraft Remastered replay for you guys. Once again we have a great engagement here in between the two pro players from the South Korean scene. So let me just start by introducing the players to you guys. In the upper right, in the brown, it is Only Star aka BISU. A very talented and strong Protoss indeed, as we have many replays of this player on this channel. And his opponent is going to be none other than spawning here in the lower right in the red. It is the Panda aka Smile, also very strong and talented, of course, Terran, also from the South Korean scene. So very interesting Protoss versus Terran once again. As we've seen, lots of Terrans, of course, don't really like to go into mass bio versus a Protoss player, so they actually decide to go into a mass mechanical build. Of course, I'm still looking forward for one Terran who would actually choose to go for mass Marines and Firebird heroes, but it is of course very hard to micro them against mass Dragoons, for example, or some Reavers, also Psionic Storm and so on from the Protoss. So yeah, like I told you guys, most Terrans really like to opt into going for siege tanks, vultures, and perhaps later on for Goliaths. When it comes to the Protoss, of course, they like to go for some gateway units, zealots with Dragoons, later backed up by an arbiter, of course, who might who is actually making them invisible, and also some carriers would also be an option. But let's not forget that BISU also likes to use a High Templars with Psionic Storm, and some Reavers with some shuttle gameplay is also a possibility. Other than that, we have a pretty normal build order here by both of these players. This of course is the barracks from the Terran. The Protoss also opening up with gas and gateway. The same can be said about the Terran, so pretty ordinary stuff here by both players. None of them are sending out a scout. And let's just see exactly when the point is going to come, when they're going to expand, or what exactly their strategy is going to be. BISU already at the 2-minute mark, sending out here his first scout. Nothing yet here from Smile, as he's already mining that gas. Luckily for BISU, his probe is heading into the right direction. So we're about to see, perhaps he's going for some shuttle gameplay pretty soon with some Reaver. It could be a possibility, of course. He's not building any zealots yet, so he will of course opt to go into Dragoons. Dragoons of course early on very good, very strong against the Terran. Now, given the fact that this probe has arrived very early here at Smile's base, he is of course sending out an SCV early on, as you really want to know what exactly your opponent is up to. Factory is up, so is the first Marine, as BISU is deciding of course to pull back. The SCV sees now that the Protoss is indeed going for a Dragoon build up here. Just checks for some other buildings here in the proximity, but nothing is being left, as the first Dragoon is already out on the map. The SCV is still hanging on here just to see exactly if BISU is hiding any other buildings here. Let's just see exactly when BISU is going to opt for that expansion. At the 3-minute mark is going into the expansion. He's also chasing this SCV, who is nicely hidden here between these rocks, but he is of course going to be scouted and chased away. Another Dragoon should very likely come up here really soon here from BISU, as the first SCV is already being taken out. This could be the expansion here from the Terran. Indeed, as most Terrans actually like to float their expansion into this position and then secure it of course with a bunker and some siege tanks here on this location or on the other location, as pretty soon I think that BISU is going to follow with some Dragoons, and we also see a robotics facility base. So this is what I told you guys, he really likes to go into shuttles, into Reavers perhaps. Let's just see what his option is going to be, as the first Dragoon is already out on the map here. And yeah, the way is open here, so he might just walk in, just go straight for this barracks early and just try to be as annoying as possible. There is a tank however out on the map, and the siege ability is of course being searched, so no vultures yet. First here for the Terran, as he's actually deciding to just secure this position here early on. BISU is retreating, as we have once again a waiting game here by both players. 23 probes for BISU versus the 24 from the Terran from Smile. Smile is lifting up his base, he's going to land pretty much soon here. His barracks will very likely land into this position perhaps, and the bunker will of course should be placed here, perhaps a turret and anti-air turret, just to spot those invisible units if there's any invisible units or some observers or some DTs. Now let's just have a look what exactly. Of course the Protoss has to go for observers, given the fact that the Terran, when he goes for vultures, those vultures are very important here for him, as they lay mines on the ground and could stop an early aggression from the Protoss. Siege tanks are sieged up, a nice turret here like I told you guys, in case the Protoss decides to go for some Dark Templar. This turret is of course going to detect those invisible units, and Smile even checking the map just to see if not BISU is hiding any other buildings on that map, but no such thing. BISU on a very defensive position here, holds his dragoons. More dragoons are coming in, and pretty soon some observers will very likely going to come in here as well. So we have one really good engineering bay. Of course the Terran is sending this engineering bay into this location just to see when or if a shuttle is going to move out. Nice pylon, the same can be said here by BISU, in case the Terran is going for some dropship harassment. He is of course going to detect this, but at the same time he's making another building here. Let's just see what exactly this is. It's a Citadel of Adun, so he might add some other buildings here as well. As once again, like I told you guys, BISU very defensive here, not moving out yet, only with his observers here. More and more siege tanks are actually being built here for Smile, so no vultures yet at all. Pretty interesting. Actually he's going straight for Goliath, so very interesting strategy here by the Terran, as he's not deciding to go for vultures but just straight for Goliaths. And this observer is going to see of course everything here, so nicely placed observer here by BISU. Sees this other expansion here for him, yet another observer here just to see any army move out here by BISU. BISU of course, knowing this, is immediately going for an expansion at his own, and yeah, secures these expansions with 4 dragoons, and the other expansion also with 4 dragoons, has those 3 observers already out on the map. Let's just have a look what exactly he's going to. A Protoss Stargate of course, and a Templar Archive, so we might see some either Dark Templars or either High Templars with Psionic Storm. Everything is possible of course because it is BISU, but yet no strong army engagement here by these both players, as both players are playing it out very defensively here. More and more factories are being built for the Terran. Upgrades are also going up, the mine upgrade, the rocket upgrades for the Goliaths. More and more siege tanks, so pretty soon we are going to perhaps see some vultures of course. Now the Terran also expanding here. He's going to float of course this expansion into this location, but he has to back it up with some units here, as at the same time BISU also blocking here this ramp. Really nice with those pylons here, just to secure his position. No zealots yet here out for BISU, it's just mass dragoons, and more gateways are being added, as he already sits now on 6. These probes are a little bit blocked here. Let's just see if they make it out or find another way. They actually find another way, as more and more gateways are being added now here for BISU. Dragoons still out on the map, very nicely spread here for BISU. He even decides to go for another expansion here, so he's feeling very confident, as his dragoons early on are really strong. Did he even upgrade to them? Not yet, it's just 0-0. Same can be said here about the Terran, also 0-0 upgrades, as we close in at the 10-minute mark here. So both players preparing a macro game here, with 63 probes already for BISU versus the 56 here from Smile. And yet another, his 3rd expansion here out for BISU already, so very careful gameplay here by him. The first Arbiter is going to also be out pretty soon. I'm pretty sure, yes indeed, he's going to add some zealots of course. These zealots are much needed to soak up the first attacks from the siege tanks, to soak up those mines from the vultures, just to deal splash damage against the Terran units. At the same time we have a vulture here out on the map. He's going to notice this expansion here. He might even take out the probe. So Smile knows exactly what's going on. He even leaves a mine here, but he's very likely going to need to be taken out here by BISU. So Smile knows what he's up to. It's a 4-base Protoss versus currently a 3-base Terran here. All in all, a real stalemate here by both players. We have passed the 10-minute mark. There has been no major engagement yet, no drops here by both players. Very defensive, a very macro oriented game, as a shuttle is also making its way out here. We see finally the first arbiter making those units from the Protoss invisible, a very important unit here for the Protoss, as it can also cast stasis field. Of course, if he catches lots of tanks, for example, the stasis field will be very strong, taking out these tanks from the battlefield, as they can't attack, but at the same time they can't be attacked. So a very strong spell indeed to have as a Protoss. The same can be said by the Terran if he's going for some science vessels, and indeed he does, as we've seen from Flash on this channel. Science vessel very strong. With that EMP shockwave they can just target these arbiters and just soak up their energy so that they can't cast any recalls or any stasis field recalls. Of course, also very strong option here for the Protoss, as this one unit right here can teleport a massive amount of units into this location, for example, or into the buildings from the Terran here. But of course the Terran likes to fend this off with some mass mines here, so in case the Protoss is going to land, for example, into this location, these mines will of course deal massive amount of splash damage, backed up of course by some siege tanks. So let's just see exactly what BISU is going to opt in here for. A small, actually his forces are moving out now on the map finally, as he is already closing in at being maxed out here. He's only one arbiter here. Perhaps he's going to build some more arbiters. Indeed, some more arbiters are being added, and even another Stargate. So we might even see some carriers here for BISU. He just checks the fourth expansion location here from the Terran. At the same time he decides to expand into this location. Smile already at 82 workers, so really strong SCV count here by him, versus only the 17 here by BISU, and we might finally see a first engagement here by these two players. Siege tanks are sieging up, of course. The vultures are in the front. BISU could get a nice surround in here, but he just decides to pull back currently. Perhaps he's waiting for more and more reinforcements. More gateways are being added. He's finally upgrading his weapons. One upgrades, actually weapon 2, sorry about that. The siege tanks only at one weapon upgrade here for the Terran for Smile. So Smile with a really nice army composition here. Tanks with some Goliaths, with some vultures. The pretty standard stuff here by both players. But so many zealots here for BISU, and I think he's feeling really confident here. He leaves some probes, some dragoons in the front. In comes this arbiter taking so much damage here. Nice stasis trap. This is what I told you guys, a really good stasis trap against these tanks. Those zealots are also in the front, soaking all of that damage here, and the dragoons are the real damage dealer here, as most zealots will of course sadly fall here for BISU. And at the same time he's deciding to move a little bit back, as this small choke point here would have been a bad decision here for him to go through. So finally we have a first engagement here as we close in at the 15-minute mark. Both players are balanced out now, and BISU is recovering of course very fast, as he has more bases. But let's not forget that Smile is already at 83 SCVs here, as he's also slowly but steadily moving out here. BISU could opt of course to go for some more arbiters, just to cast those stasis traps here, and perhaps here and here on this location, so all of these tanks would not deal any damage, but also can't be hurt, like I told you guys. So really the arbiters of course are a very important unit here. He even might try to transition into carriers. It could also be a possibility here for him, as the Terran of course is not that very strong anti-air, only with a couple of Goliaths here. Arbiters are out on the map. The two players decide to change their position. Their economies are very strong in here. And finally Smile is this time moving out with a large force here. Perhaps he wishes just to secure this position here, of course leave some reinforcements here in the back, and they both will very likely pretty soon meet up here into this position. This shuttle could of course carry some Reavers or some Psionic Storm, some High Templars. But at the same time also a lot of Protosses really like to drop their zealots into those siege tanks. This is exactly why they're being called zealot bombs. So really nice stuff here. Dragons in the front, a little bit too much in the front. No zealots here yet for BISU, so he has to pull back, of course, as this expansion is pretty much mining here, and he even backs it up with some turrets. So once again a waiting game here by both players. Both players are maxed out. In the end the upgrades will be of course very important here. 1 to 2 upgrades here for the Terran, and we have a nice recall here. Let's just see where exactly it's going to land. Right into this position, really nicely done here by BISU. Of course some mines did get some connection here, but in the end BISU of course is going to kill so many workers here. So this is a very good tactic, and a much used tactic here by the Protoss. They just try to kill as many SCVs here and just try to deny as much mining time as possible. At the same time we have a great engagement here. This however only a stasis trap on those vultures, so these siege tanks will be of course very strong here for Smile. His expansion however sadly he did drop very drastically here into those workers. Look at that, he's at 56 only from 83, so he really needs to do something. A nice EMP shockwave, and those tanks are nicely guarded here by those vultures. Really massive amount of tanks in here, but perhaps some more vultures need to be added. His economy is very strong still. Smile at 3k minerals versus also the 3k here from BISU. Finally BISU moves out here, and sadly for Smile he did not leave any reinforcements here to only some vultures here to defend this position. So all of his units are here, and once again BISU is showing us the strength of the Arbiter with these great stasis traps in here. He is going to be able to fend this attack really nicely off here. Those zealots are very tanky. Let's just check their upgrades. Actually only 0 to 2, but with that stasis trap he really did a nice job, and now he just has to wait for this to expire and he can of course kill those units. So yeah, Arbiters a must if you are a Protoss versus a Terran. So really great job here. First he did a nice recall against those SCVs, crippling here the economy from Smile a little bit, and at the same time he held this attack with some great Arbiter usage. Of course some splash damage is going to be dealt, but this Arbiter also very protective here for the Protoss, as he makes all of the units beneath it invisible. So more and more reinforcements will of course pour in from BISU. BISU once again close to being maxed out, and he looks in a very dominant position here with two great stuff here by him, great engagements here by him, firstly attacking this expansion and then fending this attack off. Once again we have an engagement here. This time the mine do get some great connection, but this is what I told you, this is why you need zealots as a Protoss. You really want to send those zealots in the front and then you back them up with some dragoons in the back. Good stuff here by both players. We have once again a nice stasis trap, but this time the Terran even gets a nice flank here. Another stasis trap goes out here, so BISU needs to be careful. Of course he feels very confident, but the reinforcements from Smile are also very nicely spreaded here. Really great job here by Smile fending this attack off, but at what cost? Remember, his economy is much more hurt than BISU's economy as he slowly recovering. He's at 59 workers versus the 66 here from BISU, but BISU mining from so many more bases, and at the same time once again BISU sends here his zealots. He even might get some kills here. 2 SCVs, 3 SCVs, 4 already have been killed by BISU with a small amount of zealots here. So nice job by him, once again doing some economic damage here against Smile. Let's just have a look what exactly Smile could opt for into this position. He might go for some dropships, would be a possibility, with some vultures here for example, but these bases are nicely being defended here by BISU, as BISU is just not allowing him any time to do good mine connection here. Once again this Arbiter way much in the front, perhaps is going to cast indeed once again a stasis trap against those tanks. At the same time the reinforcements are pouring in here for Smile. He even takes out that shuttle. So this will be of course held by Smile, as BISU needs to perhaps retreat a little bit here, but at the same time slowly but steadily the economy from Smile is not looking that strong. There's even another arbiter here. So BISU fighting on two fronts here. I guess he just wishes to cripple the economy more again from Smile, and he really does a great job here, as Smile is dropping at 58 SCVs versus the remaining 66 from BISU here. So BISU not allowing Smile just to breathe here. He just Smile, perhaps, like I told you guys, needs to find a way somehow into these bases here from BISU, but notice that BISU even leaves some cannons here, so even if you would try a drop with some drop ships, of course there are reinforcements here and there are cannons here as well, so it will be very hard here for the Terran to do some economic damage here against BISU. BISU once again with a nice force here, but yet not that many zealots here. We might see another engagement here pretty soon. Arbiters are in the front, they do take some damage. A nice stasis trap on that science vessel, and once again we have a good engagement here. Massive splash damage out of those mines, but then mines also deal damage to the Terran units, so Smile needs to be careful here as more and more reinforcements are pouring in here for BISU. Another great stasis trap here by him, and he even has this one shuttle with, look at that, once again a usage of Psionic Storm here, really nice. But your micro has to be very good here to execute this. Of course you have to drop those zealots first, as they soak up the first shots from the tanks, and then you have to drop the High Templars with that Psionic Storm. It is of course a little bit hard to execute, but not impossible. So once again nice job here by BISU. But Smile is doing a pretty good job, he's recovering here. Nice EMP shockwaves against those science vessels and those tanks. If the tanks find a good position here and they're nicely being protected, of course Smile can hold here way much longer and he could recover and perhaps even win this game, as BISU at the same time has even expanded into this position. So many bases here from BISU. Only this one base should be of course taken by Smile. There's even a scan going out, so Smile knows exactly where BISU is. BISU is taking all of his forces. Perhaps this will be a huge engagement here by him right now. Let's just see what target is he going to choose. Pretty soon he is very likely perhaps going to opt into this location, as this expansion right here is also almost mined out. This one's mined out, this one as well, so this location right here is very important indeed. So here he comes once again with those zealots in the front. Great stasis trap once again. Perhaps he's going to cast another stasis trap. There's a defensive matrix on this tank, so good usage here by those casters, by both players. And one tank is once again being taken out. The stasis trap takes out these 5 tanks here. Good EMP shockwave. Actually it's a good defensive matrix once again. As BISU is moving forward, he even drops this High Templars, but sadly for him he's being taken out before he could cast that Psionic Storm. So in the end Smile holds of course, but at what cost? BISU of course also lost so much in here, but he shows here to this enemy that he really wants to take out this position. Of course, like I told you guys, this position very important here for the Terran, as the Terran very likely might lift up even this base or this base and float it into this location right here. BISU not even allowing this, just leave some zealots here in the back, and once again he's regrouping with a huge amount of units, as his economy is of course allowing him to do. He's maxed out versus the only 141 supply here from Smile, so another attack here against him, against Smile, could be very crippling. So Smile needs to be careful of course. His tanks are this time nicely spread out here just to avoid that stasis trap. Some SCVs are pouring in here, so lots of SCVs are mining from this location. This one zealot is still being left alive, as we see a move out here, this time onto this location. So strangely enough BISU is changing his mind and goes straight into this location with his forces. Once again is backing up. Perhaps he wishes to wait for some more reinforcements here for him. The expansion is indeed floating all the way of course into this location, so just a waiting game here now for Smile. Let's just see for how long is he able to hold here these attacks from BISU. BISU in the middle of the map. Perhaps he wishes to secure this position. He already has so many expansions here out on the map. What exactly his next target is going to be. He's moving out on the map with those dragoons in the front. He even takes some damage here. So I'm pretty sure that this location right here will be of course his next target, and indeed it is, this time with some recall, great recall and great psionic storm here, and all of a sudden Smile is dropping at 45 supply of SCV, so really nice backdoor here by BISU, as I've sadly missed it. It was a great recall, of course. BISU even showing us more the importance from the science vessel, sorry, from that arbiters. So of course his small unit composure is going to be killed off here, but the damage has been done, the economic damage has been done with that splash damage, with those high templars against those SCVs. All of a sudden Smile dropping at 44 supply, and even his other expansion is going to take more and more damage here. So really nice strategy here by BISU, of course, showing us once again the strengths of the arbiter against the Terran, and he's even sitting comfortably at 4k minerals here as he's moving out with more and more reinforcements here. Let's just check the upgrades. 2 to 3 as he's moving in. Zealots once again in the front. Siege tanks are nicely spread here. He even casts stasis trap on his own dragoon. Zealots in the front. The siege tanks are trying to deal the best job against those forces from BISU, but BISU looks like he's just having way too much. So only zealots now left in the front. The dragoons have been taken out, but more and more reinforcements are pouring in, and at the same time the arbiters are also backing up here the units from BISU. So yeah, in the end, of course, Smile has to GG out, sadly for him. BISU just with a very strongly macro oriented game here, just expanding all over the place with so many expansion. Of course his economy was way too strong, and at the same time with those great recalls here in the back, the recall here into this position, he just killed so many SCVs with that psionic storm. Some SCVs are even now hurt from that storm, so really great job here by him. Of course he knew that many SCVs will be into this location, as this location has been depleted out. So really great stuff here by BISU once again, showing us the strength of Protoss. I really hope you guys enjoyed this replay as much as I did. I will be seeing you of course in the next replay. This is Tommy signing out.